You know the real problem with fake reviews? We see so many online, right? Obviously fake. Reviewer posted one time or two time. Seems like a form letter. The problem is that they actually could be true, right? So some hotels try to game the system, or restaurants or what have you, by getting more reviews. It could be actually a really good place, and they're trying to get some name recognition. But I see these fake reviews like, oh, well, no, right? And I think that's the issue with the world today. Fake reviews, no. Crowdsourcing, right? So the idea is there's a truth to things, right? The wall is there or it's not there. It's not like in a movie or a cartoon where you could just walk through the wall if you think it's not there, right? It's like in, Roadrunner. Wile E. Coyote follows Roadrunner and they're out onto thin air, but until he realizes it, he's fine. It doesn't work that way in real life. It doesn't work that way with physics, gravity, etc. I think that's the thing with the internet. People seem to crowdsource truth, right? There's this thing called Quora. People post questions, others answer it. Or Reddit. People upvote an answer. And you look at stuff and you're like, that's hilarious. But that's just wrong. Like my friend mentioned to me, I was asking him why London's so much colder than Tokyo, when Tokyo's obviously farther north. And he said, because it's not. London's farther north. And I looked it up. London's pretty far north. And if you look at Europe, it's just tilted upwards, and Asia's tilted downwards in a sense. So Tokyo's like the same latitude, northness as Los Angeles, which isn't very far north. And London is like middle of Canada, further north than all the big cities on the southern border of the US. And so it makes sense that London's a lot colder. And somebody had a question about why Tokyo wasn't, that cold, given it had the same, latitude, northness as Chicago. So people answered it, and they got upvoted. Except they answered it as if the person's question were correct, which it is not, because Tokyo is not the latitude of Chicago. It's further south. Their answers are just wrong. That's that, right? But they still got upvoted, and that's the thing with the internet. Google, Facebook, all these sites. Just because people agree with it doesn't mean it's right. It really has nothing to do with the truth, whether people agree with something or not. The truth is the truth. And the opposite often holds. And I feel that's the funny thing, right? When you think about it, like there's some politicians who are just blatant liars. But every now and then they could say something that's the truth. And it doesn't matter whether or not they're a liar or not. If they said something that's true, it's true. I think that's one thing that's interesting in today's world, that people find it hard to separate the person from what they're saying. And I have to say, if you look at it sort of nuanced, it is difficult, right? So for example, going to doctors, I happen to know a little bit of medical stuff because I am one. But sometimes the doctor says something wrong. Does it mean they're all wrong and all the other stuff they say that I don't know about, I can't verify? Or does it mean they just made a mistake? Or how do I know? If it's something essential, then I would make a guess that there's something part of your bread and butter that a pulmonologist should know about inhalers, saying this inhaler doesn't cover, asthma, but it covers COPD, when it actually does, because they said it didn't have an inhaled corticosteroid, but it does. Then do I just write this person off and say they don't know what they're talking about? Or do I say they just had a mental fart, blip, what have you? I mean, we all make mistakes, right? Sometimes people say things that are right, but in the wrong way. And we're going to an ENT doctor, and he's talking about antibiotics. He said, oh yeah, I use this one because it covers all this stuff. But that's a second generation cephalosporin, not third generation. But actually, he prescribed me a third generation cephalosporin. But about covering the stuff, he was correct. He just got the generations wrong. Does that matter when the end effect is the right result? And I think that's why it's so hard. Because often things are sort of nebulous. What is the best medication? What is the best treatment? Oftentimes there's no right answer. It's not as simple as there's a concrete wall there. If I run really hard, really fast, and hit that wall, am I gonna hurt or not? It's not as simple as that, right? Real life often isn't that simple. And I guess the question is whether it's better to know a lot about a little or a little bit about a lot. Because the problem is most people want to know everything, or at least seem like they know a little bit about everything. And many people don't know anything about stuff. Like you look at these comments, somebody playing chess, and he said, "Oh, it's not that high of a rating, 2,500. It's really high. You're an idiot. You know nothing." But people want to sound smart. And you look at these prolific posters on forums, and you're like, do they know everything? Are they Ken Jennings in disguise, or are they actually just spout off? And I find that when people post a lot, oftentimes their posts are sort of worthless because they simply don't know everything about everything. But it's hard also with the advent of the internet, the ease of search, to say, I don't know. Instead of trying, let me Google this. Oh, now I know. Well, you may not know, right? Concepts are very difficult many times in other fields. And just reading a snippet about it is not going to help. You still are absolutely clueless. Actually, it's even worse because you think you know something. It's like there's all these things in math. And I was talking to, a friend who actually has a PhD in math. And I was commenting how another friend who also has a PhD and does a postdoc and all that stuff, saying that if she explained to us, we still wouldn't understand. He's like, yeah. I mean, explain to me. I probably would not understand either. There's so many things in math that is, you can't know it all. And this is a guy who actually knows math versus me who doesn't know math versus you who probably doesn't know math either. But can we accept that many times we don't know about stuff? Why is it that we have this pride that we have to know something or feel like we know something, right? It's interesting. We're here. I'm here in Turkey right now. And I don't speak Turkish. And they say something I don't know, and it's just I don't know. But you look at some other people, they try to figure it out, they try to communicate, and you're like, it simply doesn't work that way. You don't speak Turkish, they don't speak English. It doesn't work. But why? Why do they want to feel that they know something? Why is it that people have this need to feel they know something? Why can't we just accept that most things we don't know? And when we need something, we turn to people who know stuff. And even though we read about it, we still don't really know it. Reading on a Wikipedia, that's not the same. An analogy I could give you easily, reading about how to ski jump, trying it a few times, does not make it so you could actually ski jump.